Chapter 33. Space 5 weeks after the after-credits scene. I stare out into the wild of space, spinning slowly on an axis. I notice that I am confused, which is step 1 to realizing that something I believe to be true is false. I close my eyes, counting internally to 10, before opening them again. I stare out into the wild of empty space, and the emptiness of space stares back at me. Only the vacuum of space stopped my scream from reaching my own ears. Where the fuck is Namek? Intro theme song, Dragonball Z Fly Away begins playing. Earth. I drop down onto the marble tile that makes up the lookout and begin making my way to the inner chambers. As I approach the entrance, Mr. Popo steps out. Hey, Mr. Popo. I know you're not happy with me, but I really need to speak to Cammy. This is very important. Mr. Popo stares at me for a moment before shaking his head. You'll leave now, KLL, and not return as you were asked. Your good intentions have caused enough harm, I think. Mr. Popo, please. I reply, dropping to my knees. Leave now, KLL. Mr. Popo replies as he turns to re-enter the lookout. Mr. Popo, Namek, and Muri are missing. I need to speak to Cammy, see if he can reach him. I call out in desperation. Mr. Popo stops mid-step, pausing before turning back around. KLL, I am going to be honest with you. More honest than I most likely should be. When you first came here, so many years ago, I sensed within you a surprising amount of indifference. It was not evil that I sensed, but a lack of caring on your part for others. Mr. Popo began. In the time since that has grown more and more. To you it seems we are but playthings in your life, to do with as you please. Perhaps you always knew you would be one of the strongest beings to walk the universe. Perhaps your attitude is what helped make that so. Regardless, KLL, on Earth there is a saying that fits you very well. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. I can even, in some ways, understand the choice you made. Pressed for time, your first wish failed. The greatest threat you've ever known knocking at your doorstep. I can understand the desperation. I cannot, however, accept your indifference. So I will ask again, please leave and never return. I stare back at Mr. Popo in horror. While what he said isn't true in the greater sense, it is definitely true from an outside perspective. I'm sorry, Mr. Popo. You are not, KLL. You may be one day, but for today, you are not. He says as he re-enters the lookout. I stand there for a moment, wondering what my next options are. With a slight pop, I disappear. Mr. Popo enters a small room in the back of the lookout, moving slowly through the darkness. He has left Cammy. Mr. Popo says, addressing the old Namekian sitting at a small table. Thank you, my friend. Did he say what he wanted? Cammy asks. He claims that Namek, and with it Muri, are missing. Mr. Popo replies. Cammy says as he stands. His back straightens further than it has in centuries, no longer being hunched. The wrinkles of time, the frailty of age that once plagued him, are gone. Thank you, Mr. Popo. I should still look into it, but I am not ready to see KLL again. So thank you. Planet 14C. Known as Planet 14C, a large terra planet in a smaller solar system consisting of 2 suns and 5 planets. The 4th planet, it was right in the zone to be habitable, with liquid water, a nitrogen and oxygen-rich atmosphere, and a plentiful biosphere. Habitat for 80 years before the fall of planet Vegeta, it was chosen as a backup planet to house the Scion Empire's capital. In the intervening months since the fall of planet Vegeta, a massive swing in production had begun. As the capital planet, Planet Vegeta had the infrastructure to house tens of millions of inhabitants. As it were, more than 75% of the citizens of Planet Vegeta had to be shunted to outposts and other planets, as Planet 14C simply could not house them all. My king, a messenger asks, pausing next to Indivaya. Snapping out of his thoughts, Indivaya, newly crowned king of all Scions, looks up from where he sits. Yes, Gaudra. I've received word from several of the outer posts. The citizens are adjusting nicely, while production is pushed forward. Our analysts say that we should be back at nominal operations within 5 years, at the current pace. Gaudra explains. As it is, we're not yet at a level that would overstress the workers, so it is a good pace. We could increase by perhaps 10% and not cause any damage. I see, thank you, Indivaya replies, looking over the data pad in his hand. I think 5 years is a good amount of time. After the loss of Planet Vegeta, the less we stress the populace, the better. By your order, my king, Gaudra replies before leaving. Indivaya turns to one of the attendants, asking, was there anything else pressing on the agenda? Only one thing. Several of the council are asking that we rename the planet. The current name of 14C simply doesn't do the planet justice as our new capital. The attendant explains. I see. Did they have a suggestion? Indivaya asks. They suggested that we stick to tradition and name it after your father and grandfather. Long live the kings. He replies. Another planet Vegeta? He wonders. No, I disagree. As much as it would honor my father to name the new home planet after him, I think we can do much better. Indivaya says, standing from the newly built throne room. As much as the victory over Majin Buu was in a large part my father's work, he wasn't alone. Kakarot and Bara both gave their lives. KLL nearly died saving the inhabitants, after what could only be described as a war. No, from this day forward, our new capital planet shall be named Planet Sion. It honors all of us, from the mightiest warriors to the workers that do the lowest jobs. Yes, my king. I'll make the announcement. The attendant says, hurrying off to do just that. I hope I can make you proud, father. Far edge of space. A frail man, who looks to be at least a standard century old, walks through the town square of a bustling alien city. His features make it quite obvious that he is not of the race that lives on this planet. As he continues his hunched, slow gait through the city, its denizens make way for him. Some sneer at him, quickly placing him as an outsider. He murmurs as he continues on his way. Crotons they are called. He stops at a crossroads of sorts, pausing to rest. As he waits, he eyes those that walk past in the busy morning. He listens to their broken clicky language, quickly assimilating it into his own. Excuse me? He asks a passerby. With a grimace, the couple sneers at him and quickly move along. He tries several more times, asking those that stop for food, or even something as simple as directions. At each attempt, he is rebuffed, insulted, or even assaulted. As the day slowly passes, he moves about the city, pausing now and then to try again. As the sun begins to set on the city, he moves slowly to the center. The trip only takes him a few minutes, as he had not been that far to start with. As he enters the exact geometric center, his frail back straightens, showing that his stature was quite tall. Several of the creatures staring at him in disgust, wondering where such a thing had come from. Once standing straight, he rotates in a full circle, eyes closed. I gave you a chance, he whispers, his voice somehow heard by every living creature on the planet. I asked for help and was rebuffed. I asked for directions and was misled. I asked for food and was left to starve. As he speaks, his voice changes from that of a frail old man to that of someone much younger, much stronger. His body begins to change, going from old to young, regressing till he looks no older than 20. I am Paternus, and this planet will receive a second chance, he says as the crowd around him grows progressively larger. I bring rebirth. With his final word, he reaches down, a sole finger to touch the ground he stands on. Energy pours from his body, coating the entire planet in an instant. Earthquakes rage as volcanoes erupt. High winds, hurricanes, tornadoes, and tsunamis form, tearing the landscape apart. The very ground that makes up the planet seems to turn to liquid as it bubbles away, sucking down the cities of the Crotons. The plants on the planet begin growing wild, covering the planet, destroying everything that would have been made by the creatures. Time seems to speed up, a million years of change, growth, and rebirth happening in an instant. All over the planet, it changes, warping, erasing everything that was the Crotons. Several minutes pass, and hundreds of millions of years, as the world evolves anew. Yes, I think that will do, Paternus says as he senses several new life forms on the planet. Each could one day form a new civilization, so they shall be the second chance. Across the planet, several species have formed the beginnings of tribes, the start of a new future. Deep into a forest that has stood for millions of years. All that remains is a single set of footprints. Deep space. A small, frail being floats within a ball of energy. The energy spins around it like a maelstrom of energy, churning and flashing in the darkness of space. Curled in a fetal-like position, the creature seems to both laugh, scream, and cry. His eyes are wide open, much wider than eyes ever should be, as a myriad of images flashes before them. Tears of pain, laughter, and sadness pour down its cheeks as it sees. Wild Planet, 3 months prior. The sounds of loud, maniacal laughter can be heard, echoing across the landscape. While there is no one there to hear it, if they could, they would say that it was pure evil. King Kai's planet, 3 months prior. The quiet, idyllic air of the planet is broken by a sudden gasp from King Kai. He spins, his antennae twitching as they lock in on something. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. King Kai says as Tien and Krillin look up. King Kai, what's wrong? Krillin asks, rushing over to his master. There, it's horrible. I have to warn KLL. He's all we have left. King Kai exclaims, turning again to lock on to the new Sion planet. Damn it! He's still unconscious from using instant transmission. I'll have to tell him the moment he wakes up. You will tell him nothing, North Kai. A low, sibilant voice says. As one, King Kai, Tien, and Krillin turn to the new voice. Standing over all three of them is a being of mass destruction. King Kai quickly drops to his knees, bowing repeatedly. El Lord Beerus, sir. What brings you all the way out here? Beerus. Tien asks. Who is that King Kai? Shut up, you fool, before you get us all killed. King Kai stage whispers. Why am I here? Why, North Kai, am I not allowed to visit? It almost sounds like you don't want me here. Beerus replies, studying the tiny planet around him. No, no, no. Of course, you can visit Lord Beerus. I'm happy to have you here. King Kai crows, trying his best to appear welcome. Well, I admit that I do have a reason for coming here. A little birdie told me. No, a little fishy told me some interesting news. Beerus explains, picking at his teeth. What news was that? King Kai asks. Beerus pauses for a second, before turning back to King Kai, a deadly smile on his face. The best kind of news. Current time. I reappear with a soft pop, and am hit with a sudden sense of déjà vu. I rotate in a circle, looking around in wild bewilderment. This time there was no vacuum of space to halt my screams. Where the fuck is King Kai's planet? Intro theme song, Dragon Ball Z Fly Away begins playing.